Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing with our Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord build from Fanhome. We are now on part 113 out of 120. We are down to the last four assembling stages for the Tyrannosaurus leg. And once done, I believe we'll see the completion of our Tyrannosaurus and leave over just the parts for our weapons. So without any further ado, let's see this through to completion with one more. It's assembly time. And there we go. We are down to 113. Let's pop this out. Click these. So if you've seen the previous videos, you will probably know how this is likely going to assemble. I can't imagine there is going to be any real differences between this stage of the assembly or the left foot. So first up, we take our outer casing and the foot support strut, and this will come rest over like so, and two of our PWM screws will come in and be screwed into place, and one, and then two. Now, then we bring in our heel or underside of our foot and slide this into place. Should just be so it should slide in like that. There we go. There is just the one way to do it. Just remember to push that back so it's not caught on the lip. Then this comes over. It says hypothetically, get this lined up. That's it, get that lined up. And come on. Why isn't this going in? There we go. And then we want two of our PWM screws, and that will go in there. One and two. There we go. That's that assembled. The clip comes, foot cover comes on and clips in with the lip sliding between the toes or the claws or end of the foot, whatever you want to call it. And then these clip in. These will only go on the one side, respectively, so left and right. Come on. Always one who doesn't want to go in. come on. Oof. This really doesn't want to go in there. Jesus. No. Yeah. There we go, that's that in. Get rid of that, with the spare screws. And we are on to part 114. Once again, so much wasted plastic, it is ridiculous. 114. Might as well tip all that out. Yep. Now parts. 1. 2. First up is putting our cover on. This will slide in over like so, and then 3 PWB screws will screw it into, sorry, 4. It is 4 PWB screws. One. 1. 2. 4. 3. And 1 for luck. That in, let's get rid of that spare screw. This will clip into this end here. No, wrong way around even, sorry. That doesn't want us, unlike the other one which just went in with that. There we go. There it is, that one went in without any problem. Then this comes over. Like so. Some effort that. There we go. That's that. Then this comes and connects to our leg. Just like so. 4 screws to connect that. And 1 screw to rule them all. That's 1, 2, 3. I wonder if anyone's done the math to work out how many screws this thing has actually had. go. Next part 115. Last two parts until our Zord is complete. Let's get those out of the way. You know what, before I proceed, I'm going to get a bin bag because I've got too much plastic here. Okay, and we are back. We are on to the other side of our right leg, which will come in and assemble like so. And this is our PWM screw. Okay, PWM. That goes on, all these clip in. Make sure you line those up. And they can be pushed together. That's one. This is two. It says maybe, possibly, sort of. There we go, that's that clipped in. Next we assemble this to our leg. So bring our Zord in and with this down like that. This will come in from behind. Presumably clip into place like that. Clip in there. This comes over and rests in place. And then we need our screws. To get this screwed together. So one. One. Two. Two. Three. Four. Then we should have this cover, and this will come over and cover in. Remember, we need our so that fits in like that. This comes out, covers over like this, and there's 4 screw holes with Fourth bump being this weird. One. Two. Three. Four. One which just isn't going in. And the screw thing. Oh, don't tell me it's fallen. God damn it. The screw has somehow fallen into one of the cracks somewhere. So I'll need to disassemble this to find it. Oh, otherwise, every time this thing moves, it will rattle. As far as I can tell, it's not actually in there anymore. Is it fallen somewhere? Yeah. Okay, let's have it reassembled. I don't know where that screw's gone. One. Three. And four. There we go. That done, and then we are down to our last assembly stage for the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the final Dinozord, which needs assembly with part 116. The last 4 stages taken over to our weapons. Okay, so empty these out. Get the cellophane off of our metal plates. And let's bring this in and we continue to see. So covers, remember there is a peg and peg hole which help lodge these into place. Well, they do if you do it. There we go. And then our screws to screw it in and hold it in place. So 1, 2, feel the rotation on these legs is looser than I necessarily would have liked, but as long as everything assembles correctly and doesn't topple or any problems like that, I am going to be happy. And the last screw for the Megazord, very last one. There we have it. Now all we need to do is put our covers on and this Zord is done. So let's stand him up, and he is massive. He is a giant beast. It is top heavy and we'll need the tail to keep it in a secure position. Come on. That will fit in like that. That can go down like so. There it is. I don't know how well. This is a little too big to actually properly show up on camera as it's currently positioned. So all I'm going to do here is peg its covers into place. Remember, there is a left and right orientation for the bottom cover. And then the inner ones. And she is complete. She, I don't know what you want to. It's complete. It is gorgeous. It is a fantastic piece. So obviously I've talked in the past how I will actually do independent videos for each of the Zords. But just for a quick look, there is the Zord as it currently stands. For those interested, it is standing at around 16.5 inches tall. I think you can probably get it standing taller depending how the legs and things go, so it's probably, so I mean hypothetically you could in theory well, it's not going to freestand like that. Yeah, I mean, in theory, it's about 18 inches tall, top to bottom. Width-wise, tail definitely does need to be connected in. It is such a big piece. There we go. So, head to tail, it's you're looking at about 2 foot, and foot to tail you're looking at about 19 inches. So you are going to need a lot of space to display this thing. But yeah, that's looking fantastic. That really does. As I said, I will do a separate video on the Zords and the assembly and everything else. But since we are here, we can see this through to completion with our final parts. So moving on, we are on part 118. sorry, 117, which is the guns. There's the Megazord Weapons 1. Right, let's see how this all goes. Is it going to want glue? I don't know. So you want interestingly, the instructions only cover doing this technically for the left side, but you need to do this obviously twice. So we have our sections. That's 1, 2, and they're both 2s. So that's not necessarily helpful, but okay, it should be easy enough. So first off is the internal housing, which are like little rubber clips, and these face inwards like so. So this is obviously for use when these guns are acting as the pterodactyl's feet. This will stop it from scratching, which is actually quite good. I hadn't thought about something like that for its assembly purposes, but yes, it makes sense and is useful. The instructions don't mention anything about having glue on these. However, I don't see how this is all going to hold together without some glue, but we will see in a minute. So these, because they're rubber, they tend to bend. So you're going to want to look at what you are doing. Yeah, there it is. So you're not going to need glue with those. They're nice tight fits. But you're definitely going to want some glue on the gun barrels. Now attach the muzzles to each end of each cannon. Yes, this doesn't talk about having glue at all, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, you're definitely going to want some glue on those. Let's get some glue in. Where's my glue? Right. So first up is just get rid of that. Damn it. One, 2, three. That's 1. Then we do the same for this side. Those in, line those up, and line the those together and repeat the same for this gun. There we go. That is the two cannons complete. I like the fact that there's rubber grips there to stop the Zords from being scratched. I'm assuming these bits are accurate, but it almost feels like there's supposed to be covers there and there's nothing. So I assume that is accurate and it's how they are supposed to be. But there we have those two done. Let's get rid of our glue. Right, moving on. We are moving on now to parts 118 and 119, which is our power sword. So first up is 118. So taking this out, and that, and take a look at our power sword. This is wrapped in a cellophane and is a singular. No, it is. It's two. Right. It's two halves, and it's shown as two halves in the assembly, but this has come sealed together. It's an ABS plastic, but it has been chromed. It does look nice. I'm not going to try and pull them apart at the moment. I'm concerned that they would snap or something, so I'm just going to leave that there for now. There doesn't appear to be anything to do here, and interestingly, when you open the instructions for this issue, you will see that it actually tells you where and how to fit the cannons for the pterodactyl, which is different. I'm going to look at that with the actual individual Zords and how they work and combine. I will say I've never seen a Zord which has space to house the cannons inside of the T-Rex, but I do like that. That will obviously, if you have the Zords individually and you want the pterodactyl in sort of like a flight mode or something like that, otherwise in the Zord mode I assume and hope that they should clip onto the back of the Mastodon. Then we have part 119, which is the second half of our power sword. We get a pack of screws, and these are our last 4 screws, 5 screws for this kit. We are finally there. We are finally out of screws. So, bringing this in, first up is connecting the 2 halves of the handle, making sure they are up the right way, like so. Then it wants us to bring in our end, and supposedly this goes over like so. It does say you can use a drop of adhesive to ensure they are secured, and I am going to do that because I think otherwise this could come out quite easily. So I'm just going to put some adhesive along here. Maybe just there it is, the smallest little drop on either side there so it doesn't. And then this will slide in and slide up. And there's a nice, tight, snug fit. Let's get rid of that. Then we need to connect this. So it asks us to connect the one with 2 on the inside, which is this one. And this will fit over like so. Our 2 screws. 1. 1. And 2. What's interesting is in a minute we will be sliding this into here, and the instructions at no point actually tell us how to snap these two together. It's weird because despite the instructions showing it as 2 separate parts, there is actually no seam along here. It's been chromed afterwards. Well, there's mostly no seam. It seems like it's almost chromed afterwards, so I think it is supposed to just be one solid unit. Anyway, then we bring in the second half of the hilt and snap that into place. Bring in our sword and get that attached, and that actually now has a surprising amount of weight to it. Right, first up, place a decorative trim 1 underneath the sword blade. Fix and place with a screw, then covering the screw, press the decorative trim to. Okay, so this will go in like so. And I believe that we get a screw into the center hole here. Now I have to say I kind of wish that the decorative trims were a die-cast metal. I don't think that would have been too hard. I sort of kind of get maybe the sword not being metal. Really got to push this into place. There, that's better. Then we bring in our cover, and the cover will snap on into place like so. Repeat the process this side. There we go. Repeat process this side. We are nearly there. That is our very, very, very last screw for assembly. And one last bit will see us to completion. There we go. There is our power sword. That is a nice looking sword. I like the chrome on it. The gold's nice. I do kind of wish that maybe the gold had been a die-cast metal, just to give it a little more. But there is some nice weight there. I do wonder if maybe if any of this had been metal, it might start getting too heavy, especially over time for the Zords, and it would have dropped the arm a bit. But this is definitely a very nice power sword, with some nice detailing on it. We are down to one last part, which is part 120. Now 120 is a little different. 120 is actually a number of clips and inserts into the various Zords to give support when it is in Megazord mode. So I'm actually going to look at this as part of the Zord overviews to show where these go and how they're going to support the Megazord mode. But other than that, that is essentially it. This is the end of the road. All 5 Zords are completed, and we can now look at how the Zords have come together, how they look and feel in hand as complete sets, and then look at combining. Final thoughts on the assembly process itself. I've enjoyed the process. I've enjoyed the kits and all of the stages. However, unclear instructions, incorrect instructions, and awkward parts have at times put dampers on the assembly process, which has been a shame. And I don't know if that's at the fault of the original French company, which obviously produced and distributed this, or if it's a fault of Fanhome and how they've translated and taken the model kits for the UK and rest of Europe and things. But yeah, overall, for the most part, I have really enjoyed this process. This has been the first time I've done something of this kind. And it's been really good. It's obviously been very, very pricey, and that, you know, is something I will take into consideration whether or not I do something like this again in the future. The other issue is Fanhome themselves. You know, if you started the process with me, you'll know that originally I was doing this monthly, and after continuous delays and issues, missing parts, lack of communication and everything like that, I eventually cut my losses on that and switched to the one-off purchase, and I seem to get that really quickly and all in one go. I know others out there are still having issues with the monthly dispatch of these, and that is a major problem, and that is again another issue that will I will take under consideration should I ever decide to do another project like this from Fanhome. But yeah, I for the most part, this has been positive. I have enjoyed the process, and everything as it's come together looks fantastic, I will say that. So yes, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and may the power protect you.